friends, welcome back to my channel. Happy Sunday. Today is a really exciting video. We're doing game day snacks because we've got Super Bowl Sunday coming up, and I actually took some help from a couple friends I've made through YouTube to help bulk up your menu options even more. So today's video is actually going to be a collaboration with two other channels. One is Cooking with April and the other is Faith Food and Family. I've watched both of their channels and I feel like each of them have different aspects of the things that you might enjoy from mine. So I'm really excited to share them with you. You can check out their channels to get some more recipe inspiration and hopefully find a couple new channels to enjoy. If you happen to be coming over here from either of their channels, hi, how are you? How's the family? Thank you so much for giving me a chance. It means the absolute world to me. On this channel, I do a lot of recipe inspiration like this. So if you're looking for help with meal planning, please feel free to check out the rest of my channel. I also do a lot of haul videos. So if you like seeing what's new at Costco, Sam's Club, Trader Joe's, I have plenty of those haul videos as well. I would love it if you'd subscribe if you end up enjoying the vibe. Today, I'm gonna be sharing 3 different sheet pan nachos ideas. And what we're gonna do in this one is we have the Philadelphia Eagles facing off against the Kansas City Chiefs. For the fans coming over to your house that are rooting on Kansas City, I have some BBQ Pulled Pork Nachos. And then for the fans coming over to your house that are rooting on Philly, I have some Philly Cheesesteak Nachos. The people that are coming over just for the halftime show or to watch the commercials, we've got some dessert nachos, neutral for everybody that's at your house. If you happen to be wondering who I'm rooting for on Super Bowl Sunday, I'm actually not sure if I'll even be watching it. However, I did live outside of Philly for about 6 months. 15 years ago, so I feel like a little bit of a pull towards Philly, and I also really love Kylie Kelsey, and she's like the princess of Philadelphia, so that kind of makes me a little impartial to them. But to be honest, I was born and raised in Southeast Massachusetts, so we're pretty much baptized Patriots fans, and I feel like it might be a little bit illegal for me to root for anybody if the Patriots aren't playing. But please feel free to let me know who you're rooting on down below, or of course, if you have any delicious menu items, that's more what I care about. Please feel free to leave that down below. Let's dive into the first recipe. Okay, friends, so diving into the first recipe, we have Philly Cheesesteak Nachos. All recipes will be typed up for you down in the description box, but let me show you what I did. I started out earlier in the day getting some steak going in the crock pot. To do that, I just laid down a handful of sliced onions and sliced bell peppers. Then I added thinly sliced steak to the crock pot and seasoned it with some cowboy butter seasoning from Kinder's, but any steak seasoning would be great here. I used the wrong side of the seasoning, so a bunch came out and I ended up having to fix it. Just pretend that didn't happen, like a good friend. Okay, thanks, love you. In a mixing cup, I had combined a cup of beef stock, a couple tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and probably 3 or 4 cloves of minced garlic. I poured all of that over the top of the steak, mixed it all up. I spread out about a couple tablespoons of butter that I had diced up and then covered it. I cooked it on high for about 3 hours, and then I reduced it to warm while I got the other elements going right before we were ready to serve. I started out by just taking a medium saucepan and melting a couple tablespoons of unsalted butter over medium heat. We're going to be making like a provolone cheese sauce for this. So I whisked in a couple tablespoons of all-purpose flour and let that cook for a couple minutes to form a roux. I then gradually whisked in about 2 cups of whole milk and let that cook until it thickened. Take your time adding the milk so you get the consistency that you like. You'll want it similar to a thicker gravy, so it's easy to drizzle over the nachos in the last step. Once I had it right where I wanted it, I reduced the heat to low and then stirred in some provolone and Parmesan cheese. I had an 8-ounce package of provolone cheese and probably about a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. I ended up seasoning with some paprika, ground mustard, salt, and pepper to taste. And then I just kept stirring that every so often while I was waiting for the nachos to bake. Then we just move on to the assembly step. So I preheated the oven to 375 degrees. I spread out some tortilla chips evenly on a large sheet pan that I had lined with a silicone mat. I layered half of the mozzarella cheese that we'll need, the remaining sliced onions and remaining sliced peppers, and then some of the cooked steak over the chips. I sprinkled the remaining cheese over the top of that. Then I put the nachos in the tanning bed and baked those for about 10 minutes, just until the cheese was all melty and bubbly. And then in the last step, I just simply drizzled some of that warm provolone cheese sauce generously over the baked nachos. The leftover cheese sauce can either be served as a dipping sauce on the side of these, or you can save it for yourself to make a really delicious macaroni and cheese. Stick around after the next recipe because my husband John joins us for a taste test on both of them and we'll give an honest review on them. Next up was probably the easiest. These are some s'mores-inspired dessert nachos. Reminder, I'll have the recipes below, but this is one of those ones where it's really just assembly of whatever favorite ingredients you have on hand. I started by preheating my oven to 350 degrees. Then I took a container of cinnamon sugar pita chips I grabbed from Kroger and laid those out flat and even. I sprinkled about a cup of mini marshmallows, half a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips, and half a cup of butterscotch chips. I baked that in a preheated oven for about 6 minutes, just until those marshmallows get a little golden tan and puff up a little bit. The last step is simply to just drizzle some caramel and chocolate sauce all over the top of this. My chocolate sauce, for whatever reason, just wants to fight me every time, so I was struggling to get that pretty drizzle for you guys, but it won't affect the taste, so it's fine. You could take this up a notch at this point if you wanted to and add some whipped cream or ice cream, but let's see what we thought of these just as they are in that taste test.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here we go, here we go, here we go now.
We have 2 of the sheet pan nachos to try tonight. The original plan was I was gonna make all 3. And then I was like, hi, you can't really like have leftovers of nachos, weirdo. So I made the Philly cheesesteak nachos tonight and the dessert nachos because I'm vibing for some dessert. And then we're gonna be back tomorrow, although it's all gonna be movie magic edited together for you, all in one video, to try out the, what is the other one called? Barbecue. Thank you, Kate.
Barbecue.
We're gonna try out tonight the Philly cheesesteak nachos and the dessert nachos. Let's start with the Philly cheesesteak. So we got a plate of goodness right here for us to sample. Okay, cheers. Thoughts, good sir?
Wow.
Wow.
That flavor on the steak, holy
cow. Okay, so we actually lived outside of Philadelphia and we got to go and get real Philly cheesesteaks. We were a fan of Geno's. We tested out Geno's and Pat's and we like Geno's better. I'm sorry if I just made you want to unsubscribe. If you're from the Philly area, I'm sorry, but we just, that's what we enjoyed. We liked Geno's. And they have a cheese whiz sauce that you can add. This is like the provolone version of that. So you can either get provolone there or you can get cheese whiz. And this is kind of a marriage. Now. Yeah, who knows what you can get.
That now. Was, how long ago?
All I know is that I used to order a whiz without. So that was a cheesesteak with cheese whiz and then no onion, which is funny because should I go right now, I would want onion.
Listen,
you
times
know?
change.
Times have changed. That, I think, is like a Philly cheesesteak and a nacho. Like, I don't know what else to say. And I'm very impressed with that steak because I was thinking it was going to be like too dry. But I think the combination of everything is just working. It's just working.
Fantastic.
So good. Not like overly seasoned either. That was another thing I was nervous about because, John, I opened the cowboy butter seasoning on the wrong side. I didn't do like the sprinkle side. I did like the measuring cup side.
Oops.
And it just poured in there. So I was like, wow, this is going to be quite seasoned.
You did good.
I did pull out a little bit of it because I was like, relax. We don't need to like overdose on sodium tonight. You know what I mean? But it ended up working out just fine. Anyways, I think this was a win. I'm honestly gonna go 9 on those. And it's like a solid 9. Could be talked up to a 9.5, to be honest.
You're going 9.5.
You're going 9.5.
9.5.
He's at a 9.5 coming from John. That's a big deal.
Those are John proof.
Those are John approved.
Those are fantastic.
Fantastic.
Nachos.
And I would say this too, very customizable. So if you're like the type of person that likes jalapenos or banana pepper, I would put banana pepper on that. And then I think I would be at a 9.5 because I love banana pepper. So if you want to jazz it up in any way, jazz fingers, you feel free to do that. We're going to try the dessert nachos now. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very excited about this.
She's a little too excited for that.
I needed dessert today. So I was trying to go for kind of like a s'mores vibe. Okay, and I think we achieved it. I did add butterscotch chips to it. I didn't even show you the plate that I grabbed it from, but that's okay. Everything's fine. We're doing great. I would like your thoughts first.
I thought nachos couldn't get any better.
Those are better.
But you just blew my mind with those dessert nachos. Those are a solid 10.
A 10? You're throwing out a 10? I agree.
Those nachos, if you have dessert nachos, that's what you
That's the way to go.
That's the only dessert nachos.
I co-sign your 10, good sir, which is a big deal for both of us to be thrown out of 10.
This is mine. I'm like having a hard time coming up with the words to describe.
And it's like, I think 5 ingredients. Here's the thing, Jonathan.
So good.
I feel like I just went to like a fair. You know what I mean? Like that reminds me of like funnel cake or like malasadas or like fried ice cream. Like all of those things.
On a nacho.
You gotta get the cinnamon sugar pita chips.
Those make
You gotta do it.
The pita chips make that.
It's just the cinnamon sugar vibe is so good. And then I thought that like the marshmallows were gonna be too much.
They're perfect.
It's perfect.
Don't change anything.
Don't change anything. Do butterscotch chips. I feel like you could change out the butterscotch chips though if you want a different vibe. I think that you could do peanut butter chips. I think you could do the sea salt caramel chips from Trader Joe's. I think that you could do white chocolate chips if you wanted to.
Ooh.
So that part I feel like could be switched out. But make sure there's some type of a chippy in there. Make sure there's like chocolate chips, white chocolate chips, peanut butter chips, some type of chip with the mini marshmallows, the drizzle, and most importantly, those cinnamon sugar pita chips. Total win. All right, so we are gonna get this feedback over to corporate from this evening, and you guys are diving into the next recipe. Last, but certainly not least, we have the pulled pork nachos. I took help from Sam's Club with this one by grabbing the Jack Daniel's pre-packaged pulled pork, which has the barbecue sauce already mixed in, but you could use leftover pork that you made or any version of store-bought that you like. Just heat it up based on the package instructions, and if yours doesn't have a barbecue sauce mixed in like mine did, you'll just want to combine it with whatever your favorite barbecue sauce is. To heat this through, I just dumped both of the packages inside my crock pot with some sliced onion for extra flavor and cooked it on low for a few hours. Once I was ready to assemble the nachos, I preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and then on a large sheet pan that I lined with one of those silicone mats, I spread an even layer of tortilla chips. I sprinkled half of the shredded cheese over the chips. I did a combination of medium cheddar cheese and pepper jack for a little bit of an extra zing. Then I added about a cup or 2 of the barbecue pulled pork throughout it. I'd say about half a cup of beans that I had drained and rinsed. I used Great Northern beans for this and they were amazing, but I bet black beans would also be good. Just use whatever you have on hand. And then I used about a half a cup of drained canned corn and then finished it off with the remaining cheese. I placed the nachos in the oven and baked them for about 12 minutes, just until the cheese was melty, bubbly, and there was a little bit of a golden tan to it as well. At this point, you could add any additional toppings you like, but we kept them just like this, and let's see what we thought of this final recipe. We're back, you guys, and this time it's with the barbecue pulled pork nachos. I want to have a conversation about this. I cheated and I tasted the barbecue pulled pork previously, months ago. I'm gonna find the video and I'm gonna link it down below. Somebody had told me to go to Sam's Club and purchase pulled pork and baked beans. Do you remember that? And she said throw it in the crock pot, mix it all together, and then it makes like a really easy dinner. So we did it, and it was delicious, but I had purchased the Sam's Club brand pulled pork because I forgot that she had specifically mentioned the Jack Daniel's pulled pork. And I don't remember seeing it that day. However, this time they had the Jack Daniel's pulled pork. If you've been sitting there thinking about making the recipe that I mentioned in that video, get this instead. Because
that's a hint on what's about to come.
Yeah. So anyways, these are barbecue pulled pork nachos. I was thinking like Kansas City barbecue, it goes together, but this isn't a Kansas City style barbecue sauce because your friend Kate was lazy. She wasn't gonna go, you know, I was taking store-bought shortcuts, but that's fine. Everything's fine. We're doing great as always. Thriving. Okay. Oh, you got like a double stacker.
Because this one has like the beans and...
I like it.
Is it corn?
Yeah, there's corn on it.
Oh.
Yeah. I gotta bring a show and tell item. These I got at... Move your face. These. Pretty confident I got these at Aldi. And I'm obsessed with this particular chip. And I think it's perfect for these particular nachos because They're corn tortilla chips, which I know is normal, but they are somehow like, they have that underlying like sweetness like corn does. And because there's actual corn on these nachos, it all just works together beautifully. Those chips would be delicious dipped in like a mango salsa too. Cause like the sweetness factor. What are your thoughts? I can tell you're just chomping at the bit to get out here. Tell the class.
So that's a 10.
That's a 10, another 10 in the same video?
That pork
is so good.
But the fact that you added the beans and the corn, and with those chips, it
so
works
good.
so well together.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
This is gonna be like in the rotation, like when we're just wanting like something to not think about for dinner. Sheet pan nachos could not be easier. It's an assembly process, and that Jack Daniel's pork is gonna be in the rotation.
That Jack Daniel's pork
it's so
awesome.
Good. We used to love going to TGI Fridays. You remember they had the Jack Daniel like
burgers,
chicken? Yeah, they had like the whole line.
Yeah.
And we used to love it, and that's what this tastes like. It's that sweet barbecue sauce that's just in a league of its own. I don't know if I'm going 10. I'm probably going 9.5.
Ooh, 9.5. What could make it a 10?
I honestly don't know, John.
Okay.
Oh, I know. Actually, I lied to you. I know exactly
More
what
cheese.
it would be. No. Surprisingly, no. I think the ratio on cheese on this is perfect. Sliced jalapenos, because I love sliced jalapenos, and I don't have any right now. So I feel like if I had that, I was going to put it on my half. Then I went in the fridge, and I was like, Kate, you've let yourself down here. You know, I didn't have any. So I could have gone banana peppers, but I just felt like that was a different vibe. So overall, 9.5 for me. I think I don't know which one I like more, to be honest.
That.
You like those more than the cheesesteak ones?
Oh, 100%.
They're like neck and neck for me. But those dessert nachos.
I didn't give the cheesesteak a 10.
No, you're right. We gave the dessert nachos a 10.
The dessert that paired with the dessert nachos, who would be in heaven with nachos for the
So
dinner?
does that mean you're rooting for Kansas City on Super Bowl?
I mean, no.
No?
Just because I like that nachos.
Which team are you rooting for? Because I told them at the beginning. So we have the Philadelphia Eagles. I know we barely pay attention to football now, but Philadelphia Eagles versus Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. You're going for KC because of one particular reason.
Taylor Swift. But that's not what I said.
Oh, it's not.
I said I lean towards the Eagles.
Really?
But I said because we were born and raised in Massachusetts, we were baptized Patriots fans. So I really can't make a solid declaration because that's illegal.
Also true.
You know?
So.
But I said I was leaning towards Philadelphia Eagles because we lived outside of Philly and I just loved Philly. Like, I just thought that was such a beautiful city. And I do just want to take a moment, because we're on the topic of Philly, just to send out my love to anybody who lives in that area because of the tragedy last night. It just breaks my heart. So if you happen to be affected in any way, shape, or form by that, my love is with you. Our hearts are with you. That makes me want to lean towards Philly even more, to be honest.
Okay, well, in recent events, yes.
Now you'll lean towards Philly. Plus, again, Philly was like, we only lived outside of it for like 6 months. But whenever we could go into the city, we just had so much fun. We were both working like 2 jobs. He was in school. So we didn't get to explore very much. But whenever we did, it was just...
And you know what I feel like, too, is because of one individual who's dating someone that's very popular, that you wore the cardigan earlier in this episode. That individual has
Why can you not say... Why are you like hiding their names?
I don't know.
You're trying to protect their privacy? Like, we know who they are.
Because Taylor Swift has created so much more influx to Kansas City.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like the Eagles don't get the love that they...
Well, Kylie Kelsey, though, is like also a big deal. And she's like...
She's as big as Taylor Swift?
She's not as big as Taylor Swift. But she's the princess of Philadelphia. And so she brings a lot of people in. So I guess women are just bringing in football. You know, they're just bringing in football. So
and this is coming from someone who, like, I used to watch every single
we were
game.
die-hard football fans for a stretch of like 10 years. And it's not because we're bandwagoners or anything like that. I mean, I grew up watching the Patriots when they were the worst. Okay, when they were going through the worst. It wasn't just because of Brady that I became a Patriots fan. I've always been a Patriots fan. But when Brady left the Patriots, I had a grieving process.
Well, and it just so happened that we were also in a giant transition in our
life. In life. It was funny. We left Hawaii and moved to Virginia, which is an East Coast location. And I was thinking now we will actually have access to all of the games.
Right.
We got to Virginia and we had less access to watching the games than we did when we were living in Hawaii. So I'm like, maybe eventually now it's like a completely different team.
Yeah.
The coach isn't there. None of the players are there. So we like could re-fall in love with the Patriots. I don't know. Anyways, we went off on a tangent. Shocking. That's so unlike us.
Come back to...
We are going to go ahead and get this feedback over to corporate. I hope we delivered whatever you needed when you clicked on that thumbnail. Do not forget to go check out April and Amanda's channels. They're going to be linked down below and you can go see what they're adding to the menu today. They shared it with me. They let me know. I got a sneak peek. You know what I'm saying? And there's some good recipes over there. So go check out their channels. And again, if you came over from theirs, thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to vibe out a little bit. And I hope you have a magical day. Bye.